Hey everybody, Milo here. I'm here with Jack at Cool Clubs. We've got some secrets about wedge fitting that the pros use that you at home may not. And often you get wedge shots that look like that one I just hit. A nice little sideways shank.
The El Josel.
Yes. Everybody, Milo here, coming at you from Cool Clubs here in Scottsdale, Arizona. I'm excited to announce a new partnership with them where we'll be collaborating on some new content to help educate you on the importance of club fitting. We also have some more detailed and deep dive type content that we'll be sharing on the website. So if you're interested in that information, you can find it at milolinesgolf.com. But here on YouTube, we're going to have a little bit of fun and do some cool experiments. Hope you enjoy it.
I'm Jack Gilbert. I'm a creative content manager and master fitter here at Cool Clubs.
Cool Clubs. So we chose to come to Cool Clubs because Cool Clubs has some very interesting technology. We actually did some fittings for our website just now and found even Henry and I's golf clubs weren't quite right, and we got them dialed so much better.
Yeah.
It's definitely, I can feel it wanting to fade more now though.
No issues there in stopping power. 656 land angle, 6500. That's digging in.
Sweet. I like it.
That felt like I hit it perfect.
That was pretty optimal right there.
That's it. I mean, we can optimize that just to show you.
How far off was it from perfect?
Optimal was 354. You hit it 355 because spin was on the low side and launch was on the high side.
Pretty good. Well, I like this.
I wouldn't be upset. I could put you in either option.
And you helped us with that.
Right. I mean, everyone needs club fitting.
Everybody needs club fitting. So let's talk a little bit about club fitting. This is my actual wedge, and we actually just tweaked it a little bit. What did you do to it?
I've moved it from where you had it into a 1 degree upright of standard setting.
Okay, so it was like moving it 3 degrees almost, or 2.5 degrees.
2.5 degrees, yeah.
That's not that much, right? It doesn't seem like that much, 2 degrees.
Most average golfers wouldn't be able to tell by their eye.
What is lie angle? Just show us what that is.
Just the simplest plane, if this is a flat plane on the bottom here, it would be the angle that this shaft is to the ground on this side here.
Okay.
So a flatter lie angle. If the club stayed flat on the ground, the shaft would be laid down.
Okay, so this toe would stay down, and that would be considered a flatter lie angle?
Yep, and a more upright, you would see the shaft stand up, and the toe would also be close. So this angle would be more acute in here.
Okay. And so we made this one
upright from where it was. So standard is generally around 64, 65 degrees. We've got you just a hair over 65, so your club is sitting more vertically, your shaft is sitting more vertically.
Okay. How's that going to affect things? It doesn't seem like it should affect things very much.
Well, wedges are the one that you want to be the most accurate with, right? You know, you've got to hit your start line every single time. As important is how the wedge interacts with the ground. Like everyone talks about bounce and sole design, super important, but only if you deliver the entire sole as you should. If the lie angle's out in either direction, generally speaking too upright, you're going to see this section, the heel section here, dig into the ground, snag over, you won't be able to get any spin out of it, you're going to hit it left, you're going to hit the unspeakable shot, all kinds of problems.
So it's going to go left.
It's going to go left. If you hit it good, if you may not even be able to hit this thing.
Shall we test it?
Absolutely.
Sweet. Okay, well first thing, my eyes are used to seeing a club a certain way. This looks horrible.
Looks up, and so you're going to see the face pointing at you, you're going to see it looking sharp on you.
I feel like the loft on that golf club is pointed that way.
Absolutely.
Okay.
You're a good player, so you're going to be slightly different from most.
Yes.
A good player is going to be able to probably figure this out, but the net result of that is going to be the shot that you were just talking about.
Okay, so let's just make what feels like a normal golf swing. And where's that going to go?
And you struck that pretty well, right?
I hit it right on the button. That was pretty much perfect. You can see my club path was actually 2.4 to the right.
Into out.
Into out. But the ball went like
a long way left. Your club, your spin axis, so your ball's axis was tilted 8 or 9 degrees this way.
Yeah.
Which is a lot.
So the ball, and it's not even close to the center line.
Well, you missed the green from somewhere in a range of 110 yards, 112 yards.
Yeah, that's not good. So in order to show everybody at home the effect that this lie angle, this change in lie angle has, and why that ball went to the left, I've put a little, this is called the pitch assist. It's just a magnetic stick that goes on. We can see if that toe's a little bit up, where does that loft appear to aim?
It's got to be way left to target. Well, where does your hand position have to be to get that pointing at target? And does that feel anything like natural or a normal impact position?
No. I feel like that would be very hard to get to for me.
Right. It's a simple fix. You can do it in 2 seconds.
Just bend the golf club.
Just bend that thing down.
So what other results do we start to see from players who get their clubs too upright?
Most of the tour pros, clubs in their bag, they're aware of this fact, and they're going to bend anywhere from a little flat in the gap wedge to very flat in the lob wedge, because obviously the lob wedge is even lower hands, open face, all these shots that you're playing at a little niche, you're going to need even flatter lie angle. So it might not be consistent. It's going to be variable through your wedge set. But you'll see good strikes going left. You'll see more bad strikes because you'll see the heel digging in the ground and snapping over. And you'll also present the hosel to the golf ball occasionally.
Yeah, because if once I see a golf ball do that, my fix in my brain is I'm going to actually try to swing more into out.
Yeah. Or hang on.
Or hang on. So I'm going to feel I got to go this way to solve that, and then I might accidentally clip the shaft. I just clipped it. Oh yeah.
That's it, but that's a big difference.
Yeah, that didn't go good.
But now you've got a 50-yard spread between your good strike and your manipulated strike.
Yeah. Yeah, it's just crazy, the disparity between those.
So what happens if you make just your normal swing? You just set up standard and you just make a normal swing.
I don't think there's any way I can hit it straight.
It's just so far left.
Club path 0. Ball went over my left shoulder.
Yeah. It's to exit stage left.
And this is one of the things I see all the time on my range tee. When I'm out giving lessons, someone will set up and I'll look at their wedge and I'll be like, oh my goodness, there's no chance. And then they hit it and their wedges all go way left, and so then they're trying to hang on and get that ball to start farther to the right, and all of a sudden they get the S words.
Yeah.
And a lot of it could have been just fixed by getting a wedge that was properly fit to them.
It makes your job a lot harder as a coach, and it makes my job a lot easier as a fitter because it's such an easy fix. But the wedge is one of the biggest culprits because it's something that you don't think about fitting. People think about bounce, right? They want to get the right bounce. But when you go into a store and you see all these wedges on a wall and it's like, oh, I've got the bounce that I want. Don't think about length, they don't think about lie angle, they don't think about shaft, and all those three things allow that bounce to work.
The lie angle actually is maybe even more important than the bounce.
I think so. I'd
At least for hitting them straight.
I'd rather see you with the correct lie and a little bit funny bounce because the effects are much, less adverse for your game. All right, Milo. I think we've seen enough of that. It's pretty stressful to watch, let alone do yourself. So let's just go and fix this up.
I want my club back to how it was.
30 seconds. We'll get it done.
I want to thank Cool Clubs in Scottsdale, Arizona for hosting us today and allowing us to come in and use their awesome facility. Do yourself a favor and get fit. Check out their website for a list of locations.
That wedge is going to be crispy now.
Ball speed, launch and spin can do to your distance. The right way, keep that tough. This is our proprietary loft lie machine. It's pretty simple. You clamp it in so the sole's flat. You're looking through the center of the golf club. You get the groove lines, which is essentially the 90-degree floor plane, lined up square. You clamp it with enough pressure, and it's lucky this is a good wedge. It's nice and soft material. You clamp it in, you clamp the back in, and we'll check our start position. So like I said, this is like 65.5, a little upright of standard, and 57 degrees. We know that you like your 57 degrees, so we don't want to adjust that. I am just going to drag this shaft downward, make it more flat.
Okay, I wanted it 2 degrees flat of standard.
So let's call standard 64 for the most part. So I'm going to get you down to 62, but because you're already a little shorter, 62.5.
Because my club's slightly short.
Already under length, yeah. Okay, so we're actually past where you started. We're down to 62.5, a little flatter than what you're used to.
Awesome. Oh, that looks very good. That looks totally different.
It feels more comfortable just to put it on the ground, right?
Yeah, I don't feel like I have to get the handle up here to get the sole flat. Now it just is pretty flat.
Yeah. How about demonstrating with your stick again, where that loft is pointing now that we've got it in the right spot?
Right there, that's about where I would want to hit it. And the loft seems like it's pointed pretty straight.
Yeah, we're basically aimed square, parallel to this line in the mat, and you can see that orange line is pretty square.
Pretty square. And it's pretty easy to get there. I didn't feel like I had to make my hands be in a weird place.
Right.
Would you say for a wedge, it's more important to have the lies fitted correctly than it is on any other club in the bag?
Absolutely. I think it's a scoring club. You're going to use this a lot more than most other clubs in your bag. And B, the more loft you have, the more aggressive the issue becomes. So imagine your wedge is on a side heel, which is essentially changing its line.
So if I was hitting this thing off of something that's like waist high, you could see where the loft wants to point.
It's pointing over there. Whereas if you de-lofted that all the way down to, let's say, some sort of, four iron, it becomes less and less important. This is something so important. You know, the guys that I'm working with, whether they be raw beginners through to tour professionals, it makes a huge difference. Tour professionals are paying attention to this weekly. You know, you're hitting wedges off of hard pan bunkers, they're moving around. We're checking them, bending them back to where they should be. I touched on it a little earlier. Often with a lob wedge or something, they're playing a low hand shot. They might even set that a little more flat than all the others. And that provides them a little more versatility from those lies. But amateurs walk in, they buy something off the rack, they don't pay attention to the lie, but length and lie are in unison together.
Explain that. How does the length affect this lie angle? If the club was longer, is that going to change things?
You can do this. If you set yourself up, you basically walk yourself half an inch or an inch closer to the golf ball. Imagine that golf club getting shorter and shorter.
So I can get closer to it. Okay, now that looks like the toes on the ground and the heels up.
Right, and that's exactly right. So because of that length change, now lie angle has to be bent more upright in this case to make that sole out and that loft point in the right direction.
And if the club was longer, if I grip it only in one hand, now it looks like...
You're an inch over standard, let's say.
Yeah.
You have air under the toe here. I can get my finger under there.
Yeah.
A little bit of toe in the air is okay, but any more than that, and same as what we've been discussing, you're going to see that ball travel left. So you have to micromanage both of those things at the same time.
Okay.
If you're buying a wedge that's short because you're a shorter person or whatever that may be, you want to match the lie to it. It may still need to be flat with it, but you want it to sole out nice and square on the ground.
Well, for example, my wedge was a ½ inch shorter than a standard wedge, and that's because I'm not very tall. I've got really long arms, and I'm comfortable. I like to stand close to the ball.
Right.
So I make them a little shorter.
Okay, and then that already changes the lie angle equation. Before you've even started, if you had a 64-degree lie angle as standard, at a standard length, and you've cut it a ½ inch shorter, effectively your standard now should be 64.5. For you to go flat, you're going past standard flat already. That's why we were talking about flat earlier. You're going to be 2.5 degrees flat relative to your length, but really only 2 degrees flat relative to standard.
Perfect. Okay, well, now that we've put this club kind of back where it was, maybe even slightly flatter than I had it, shall we test it and see where the ball goes?
Hit the full shot. Let's see if we can get one down the line.
Okay.
Started way better. There you go.
I hit a tiny little push.
Club path was in to out, face angle matched up to it, and your spin axis. So remember when we talked about the -8 degrees? You're now at -3, which is basically 0, -0.3, 0.
Yeah, so the interesting thing, that path is the exact same path as the first shot I hit with it upright, but that ball ended up to the right of the line slightly.
Yep.
And the other one ended up almost off the grid to the left.
It just gets your face in the right position.
It's perfect.
And that delivers such a neutral spin axis. That thing is falling, and it will spin where it line was.
The spin axis was basically like a 1 foot draw.
Yeah.
Almost no curve.
Yep.
Perfect. In my coaching, this is something I literally see daily. I see it really often with elite level junior golfers. You know, they show up with clubs that their dad gave them. They probably just bought them out of a bargain barrel, or they bought them new, but they weren't really fit to them very well. So one of the first things we do is, after I've watched them hit some terrible wedge shots with what looks like great golf swings, we run in, we throw them on the Mitchell machine, which is what I've got at Superstition to bend golf clubs, and often I'll bend them 3 or 4 degrees, come back out, and magically the ball goes straight.
And you can get away from all the mental torture that you go through trying to fix your swing to hit a good wedge shot, when really it's a 30-second fix.
The tool just didn't quite fit, so let's fix the tool.
Yep.
So if you struggle with shanks, pulls, high left shots with your wedges, I'd say it's a good idea. Come down to Cool Clubs, get your wedges fit. You're going to play a lot better.
You're going to score better day one.
Don't even have to change your golf swing.
Nope.
Amazing. Hopefully you all like this video. If you did, hit the like and subscribe button. Come visit the guys at Cool Clubs. They'll get you set up, and you'll be hitting the ball better than you ever have.